What a weekend of fights we had, ladies and gentlemen, between the UFC Fight Night, between the Elimination Chamber. One of the saddest weekends and most exciting weekends of my life is coming up because Charles Oliveira is going to fight Max Holloway. AEW is on fire. We got a lot to get into on the knockout. You already know what time it is. It's your boy Niles Nassim, and let's get ready to go 12 rounds and let's go see this knockout. Come on. And we are back with another episode of the Knockout. We are going to first go straight into a UFC Fight Night Mexico. Kavanaugh versus Moreno. What a fight. Actually, really, what a performance. Okay? There's not much to say on the Brandon Moreno side other than that's Brandon Moreno. A lot of people thought he's washed. A lot of people thought that he sucks now. He doesn't suck at all. He's still one of the top 5 flyweights in the world. He still has that great boxing, great conditioning, can still make his kicks well, can still take. He's a great mixed martial artist. Okay, the story of Brandon Moreno is just absolutely beautiful. When you hear the interview when he said, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I will be a champion. He's a multiple-time champion now. He has etched himself in stone as one of the greatest flyweights of all time. He helped breathe life back into that division because it's such a fan favorite. Everybody really does love him. That trilogy or quadrilogy with Davis and Figueiredo was just insane. But let's just be honest. That new generation, they're coming. Kavanaugh's nice. The way he can put together his combinations with such precision, power, and speed, it's absolutely nasty. The way he was lighting Moreno up all 5 rounds, Moreno was really showing it on his face. It was so hard that even if you wanted to try to score for Moreno, you couldn't because he had the output and the power and the damage. What can we say? Absolutely sensational masterclass of a performance. Okay? And when you look at what Kavanaugh is doing, you would have thought, hey, he's going to slow down by the 3rd round. No, he didn't. He looked in shape. He looked phenomenal. His confidence was there. It's one of those things where he didn't get caught slipping like he did in one of his previous fights where he was styling on Charles Johnson before he got clipped. He wasn't going to get clipped tonight. He wasn't going to get denied tonight. Kavanaugh's scary. I love to see his pace too. And I love to see that if Van could beat Tyra, I would love to see what that fight looks like. 2 fast-paced, fast and heavy-handed flyweights going at it. Because when flyweight is good, it's good. When you see these guys, I'm not going to call them little guys because I don't want to disrespect these people because they can beat my behind and beat your behind too, all at 125, okay? Let's make that very clear, all right? Everybody's going to say, well, there's weight classes for a reason. That depends, and that is for the elite level of hand-to-hand combatants in the world because size makes a difference there. For you and I, regular human beings, they're going to maul us. That's another conversation for another day. But these flyweights, when they're good, they're good. You're seeing skill at the highest level. You're seeing conditioning at the highest level. You're seeing blazing fast speed that you've never seen before. This 125-pound division has had new life into it. It's not getting cut anymore because I promise you, it has some fervor and energy. And I can't wait to see. Mind you, we still got to wait to see when Pantoja comes back and he's healed. We don't even know what that's going to be. And I would love to see a Kavanaugh-Pantoja fight because I would love to see what he would do against Pantoja's grappling. Kavanaugh's a great prospect. I like what I see. Great job. Don't know what's next for Brandon. He's done it all, but we will see what comes up next for both these fighters. But big things are coming for Kavanaugh. I'm going to really hit the top 3 fights because we got a lot of things to go into, so I'm not going to go through every fight of the night, but I will say this. First, Chito Vera Martinez. What are we doing? Martinez did a great job really bringing the pressure to Chito, really out-voluming Chito, just putting it on him every round. Now, he got in trouble. Martinez did get clipped a couple times where he was looking a little wobbly, but the chin stayed true. He did what he needed to do, and he was able to really make sure to outwork Chito. The problem I have with Chito is, what do we do with Chito? Chito is a phenomenal fighter. Chito beats anyone on any given Saturday. He has the skills to knock anyone out on any given Saturday. I'm telling you, Chito's dangerous. The problem is that Chito, you don't know what, he just doesn't throw. These last couple of fights, it's like Chito will walk you down and he'll throw 1 to 3 punches around. That's an exaggeration, but he's not throwing a lot. And then he'll sit there and he'll get people in trouble, but the person's still outworking him. And then he'll act like he won the fight Cheeto, you got to put in more volume, brother. You got to put in more work because you can be a champion in this division. You're not over the hump just yet. Cheeto is still a dangerous fighter, but it just seems like he's lethargic when he's out there and that he just wants to sit there and wait. I don't know why he does that. I think that sometimes in his past fights, it's worked out, like against Dominic Cruz, when Dominic Cruz was really actually winning those rounds, and then Cheeto was able to catch him with a head kick when Dominic leaned into it, doing his little usual footwork shtick. You know how Dominic moves. That's what Cheeto was trying to wait for. He got it. In a lot of fights, that's what happens. But against this new guard, they're not giving that opportunity. Cheeto, you got to pick up the work rate, brother. You got to pick up the work rate because I believe that if you can pick up the work rate, you can still be a champion in this division, and people are rooting for you. But it's looking real, real dicey. Come on, Cheeto. I know you got it. But good fight on Martinez. Way to stick it out. Way to push through. You got it done. Zell Huber versus Green. Zell Huber versus Green. My God, Bobby Green. First of all, the simple fight is Bobby Green's going to Bobby Green. Bobby Green's that gatekeeper. He's just that gatekeeper. If you want to know if you're a top 15 level, bottom top 10 level fighter, you got to go through Bobby first. And Bobby ain't no joke. Bobby is a elite fighter for that range. Okay, Bobby has great boxing. Very unorthodox movement. He has great head movement and great defense. Most of the time, you have to be a really good striker and really fast to catch him. Bobby is really tricky because he fights with his hands down, which means that you will not be able to telegraph or see where he's throwing these punches from. And he can throw punches from successions from his hip. Kind of crazy. And it helps add to his power, too, because he's having to really pop up and extend it to get there fast enough. Once he gets into a flow state, you're not stopping Bobby. It's a downhill snowball effect. Okay, so once Bobby gets going, you're screwed. And that's what happened against Zell Huber. Zell Huber, my God, this dude was supposed to be a great prospect. I remember that fight he had against, was it Ignacio Mendez? I think, was that the guy's name? The fight against at the Sphere. One of the fights of the year, okay? Zell Huber has all the skills in the world. He has everything in the tool bag, but he's got to get these wins right now because as a prospect, he's looking really, really bad. He's had some bad losses, some losses that he was supposed to win. And I think that when you look at him and you see him strike and you see him move, you're like, that is a championship fighter. And you see him in the octagon, he goes up against some resistance, and you're like, that is a fraud. I don't think he's a fraud. I think he's a great fighter. But we got to go back to the drawing board and see what's happening right now. Because if you're a prospect right here in this division, you should not be losing to Bobby Green. On paper, you should not be losing to Bobby Green. We all know in real life, Bobby's a tough out. And on any given Saturday, if you're not the top of the top, Bobby can put you to sleep. However, though, these are the fights that are supposed to be the layups. You want to be the top of the division, make it happen. I don't really know what to say about Zell Huber, where he goes next from here. And I definitely don't know. Bob'll be fine. He'll be put up in some fun matchup. He never has a boring fight. I tell you, he'll never have a boring fight. But really, Bobby Green is going to Bobby Green. If you've been watching long enough, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, okay? Finally, we're going to go to Rodriguez versus Borjas. Yeah. How did Rodriguez survive? What are we doing here? I just don't even understand. I'd have been knocked out. I really don't understand. Borjas had him. He had him. I mean, he was laying it on him. I think he completely emptied the tank and emptied the clip. And you might say, oh, well, that was a stupid decision. Yeah. If you saw somebody that hurt, you're going to try to get him out of there too. I didn't know that chin was made of vibranium or granite. I didn't know that he had the chin of the gods. That fight was insane for the first 2 rounds. But Rodriguez kept his composure. He figured it out. He started getting back to what he needed to do, started moving, started to make sure to put them combinations together. Then he started wearing out Borjas, and then it was a simple mistake. Borjas dips. He catches him with that left. I think it was a left hook. Or was he standing? Was he standing? I'm pretty sure that was a left hook, but it could have been mirrored. But I'm pretty sure it was a left hook that he dipped into. Bam! Caught him in the chin. Next thing you know, he's wobbly. Rodriguez is patient. He finds it, gets him up on the cage, hits with an overhand right. Bing, 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 bing. Lights go out in Georgia. He ends up finishing the fight. We got a scary prospect at bantamweight. I kind of like it. Rodriguez, that's the kind of fight we need to see. And, I'm not the type of person that needs to see perfection all the time. Okay? I think sometimes it's more legendary to get knocked down and then to get back up and put in work. I'm not knocking anybody who can never get hit, but if you can get hit and still put in work, I love it. That's why we like Charles so much. Okay, great fight. Don't know how he didn't die in that first round, but more props to him. This is why we love the UFC Mexico cards, because these guys, it's like they get super soldier serum when they're in these certain arenas in certain countries. They turn into different animals and beasts, and then you see them be able to give up from stuff that just normally they probably would have been knocked out for. But that Mexican fighting spirit's a real thing, and it's sensational. All right, now. Speaking of Charles Oliveira, like I just said, UFC Fight Night Mexico has come to a close that has ended, which means that it is time to go and get into UFC 326. And my God, guys, this is every fight fan's best dream and worst nightmare. Worst nightmare and best dream, because it's two fighters that we all love. If you are a fight fan, to your core, you love Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira deep within your soul. There is a certain love and passion you have. And if you've been watching them for as long as I've been watching them, you've seen the maturation, you've seen the growth process, you've seen them grow up from literal almost boys and teenagers to the men they are today. And it has been incredible to see their stories. If you are a fight fan and don't have the butterflies or don't have goosebumps coming down your arm, or you don't have, the tinglies, the warm and fuzzies thinking about this fight, I don't think you're alive. You must be a zombie or a dead carcass, because this is what fights are made of. We may not like it that somebody has to lose and that somebody has to win this fight, but this is what we asked for. This BMF belt now was once a belt that we might say, oh, it's a journeyman kind of thing. We don't know. It's just about exciting fighters. Now it's really turning into a belt that is being defended against elite fighters, elite competition, okay? From Justin Gaethje, who's he's a two-time interim champion, with Dustin Poirier, a former interim champion. Now you got it with Max Holloway, who's one of the top 3 featherweights of all time, really top 2, and now he's got the belt. A former featherweight champion, multiple-time featherweight champion. Then on top of that, now we're going against Charles, who's one of the greatest lightweights of all time, and a former lightweight champion. And now this isn't just these are exciting fighters. Now we're cracking with the elite. Their stories are just so compelling. Now we can go back a decade and talk about the first fight, but that was 90 seconds. Charles got an esophagus injury, if that's what I remember correctly. He got an esophagus injury. Ended the fight, we don't know. This is when that quitting narrative started to happen with Charles. But these are two completely different men. If these two men were in the octagon to face their former selves, they would eat their former selves alive. They are bigger, faster, stronger. They hit harder. It is insane what they have both become. We'll talk about Max. Max went on the run of a lifetime, absolutely mauling Jose Aldo to become the featherweight champion. He was putting in work with multiple title defenses, beating people like Brian Ortega. And it was kind of insane the way Max was doing things. We didn't think that he could get beat until he ran up against Volkanovski. Remember, that trilogy is a lot different than how you remember it. Volkanovski got the first fight. Max should have got that second fight in Fight Island. I would still say that. But then Volkanovski got him with a 5-0 skunk. But here's the thing about Max. He still went on the run of a lifetime with featherweight because he messed up the division because no one else could beat him. Everybody else tried to get up there with Max, and nobody was even able to touch him because he's just that good. He was able to get back, work his way up to another featherweight title shot, gets knocked out by Topuria. Nothing's wrong with that, because everyone gets knocked out by Topuria, including the man he's about to fight on Saturday and the man he lost his championship to. But Max has cemented himself as one of the greatest featherweights of all time. And the problem with Max is that he's only 30. He's between 32 and 34. He's been in the UFC longer. You thought he's 40, but he still has a whole nother prime and a whole nother gear. And now here's the thing about Max. Max was a very good volume striker, okay? Death by 1,000 cuts. But Max now, not only can he still throw out that volume, he's got power behind it, and he's even got more speed. And it has become a problem because he can knock dudes out. He can put them to sleep, make you take a nap. And if he doesn't make you take your nap, he will make you think twice about engaging with him, because you saw what he did against Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier, in each one of his fights, never got outstruck by Max, but you can always say that every time Dustin Poirier hit Max, there was more of a reverberation that you could feel through the screen. Dustin Poirier was always going to be able to outpower him and be precise with his boxing, until that last fight when you saw that now the levels have switched and Max was actually piecing up Dustin. It wasn't even close. Max is dangerous, and when he tells you to point at that ground and let's go, you got to be very careful. Very, very careful. So is Charles. Boy, I tell you, Charles is that guy, the lion, the man that is illuminated by God himself, the guy that used to be a quitter but now is called a champion. That 13 fight win streak was insane. He ran through everybody from Tony Ferguson to Justin Gaethje to Dustin Poirier to Michael Chandler, the elite of the elite. He was knocking dudes out, submitting them, beat Kevin Lee, was absolutely choking them alive. Charles Oliveira is the stuff of legend. He has become one of the biggest stars in the UFC. He is one of those people where you have to throw out his featherweight career because once he went to lightweight, it was a completely different animal, a completely different beast. The last person that really beat him, and when he was at lightweight, it was Paul Felder from before that run, and then it was Islam Makhachev. There's nothing wrong with that. And here's the thing about Charles. If you're not Islam or Ilya, you're not beating him. You're not beating him. Everybody else has been put down. Michael Chandler, Gambrot, and even that fight against Saryukin, which he lost, it really should have been a draw because Charles was trying to play that whole jiu-jitsu game sometimes, which he does. We'll lay on his back because he's very confident in his submissions. But people will be able to get control time on him. But still, as far as who was the most danger of that fight, Saryukin was caught in some really compromising positions a couple times. So Charles can be anyone on any day. Charles has a wild range of tactics that he can fight. He's a complete fighter, and his mentality is what makes him who he is. He's a lion. He's going to charge head, and he's going to meet you in the center of that octagon, and he's going to throw hands, knees, and elbows and clinches. When you're breaking down this fight, here's where it goes. On the feet, it can go either way, all right? Everyone's going to say that Max Holloway is better on the feet. That's not necessarily true. Max Holloway is better in one specific area, and that's the boxing. His hands are insane. I'm not going to say Max is the best boxer in the UFC because I'm still going to say that's Petr Yan because Petr Yan actually had a boxing background and it was a master of sport and boxing in Russia. It's another conversation for another day, but Max is definitely one of the top three. Really, you can even say top two. The way he can put combinations together and keep that conditioning going is insane. He can pop that 1-2, pop, 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 pop. Throwing in the hooks. He's added in some of the kicks now. He's added in new techniques to his game where he really is a complete striker, but the hands are where he lives. But Charles, on the other hand, is just as good in the feet, but he has a real true Muay Thai base. Charles has nasty elbows, nasty knees. He has nasty kicks, and that straight 1-2, if he clocks you with you, he can put you to sleep. Once he gets you in the clinch standing too, he can put in some work. This is how the fight is really going to work because both of them are going to be throwing punches, but they need to be standing at range. They're too long and too lanky, both of them, to really be getting the inside cut. I only think that favors Charles, though, because if Charles gets into clinching range, he can make a very hard night for Max. But I also know Max, when he gets into that clinching range, knows how to really rip to the body and be able to come up to the head very fast and very efficient. So we'll see what happens when the combinations get there before the clinch. But at range, it's very simple. Charles is going to have to make sure to keep that 1-2 going, popping him, disrupting Max with his jab and with his front kick and those leg kicks, just really chopping away at Max. But Max has to also make sure to keep moving forward as well, really pressuring him and making Charles think twice about having to throw and making Charles very gun-shy. The good thing about this is that both of them know how to move one way in one direction. Forward. They don't know how to move back. They're not moving back, all right? Now, here's the thing. You might say Charles has the edge in the grappling department, and he does have the edge in the grappling department, but Max is a great defender of takedowns. Great defender of takedowns. But has he faced a grappler the level of Charles? I don't think so. So we'll see. But Charles has to make sure that Charles doesn't try to do that shtick where he's laying on his back. Max is going to really try to take Charles down, but just in case, don't play the jiu-jitsu game, okay? But here's the one thing people don't understand. Max is also in trouble because Charles knows how to take people down through the clinch. And that's a lost art. How to trip and make sure that people fall while clinching and standing is different than taking people down. And Charles knows how to do that. I'm not going to lie to you. This can go either way. Don't be surprised that either one of these boys win. It's either someone's going to sleep. This is a 5-round war. Both of them are probably going to end up in the hospital. And without a doubt, this could be Fight of the Year. And it probably will be. I'm excited and I can't wait to see. Buckle up, all right? Now we got to go to the WWE side of things. Elimination Chamber was last Saturday. People thought it was a mid pay-per-view. I thought it was a solid and a really good pay-per-view. We'll go through everything. The Women's Elimination Chamber was absolutely great. In-ring work was amazing. The women continue to elevate themselves, and I don't even think they even hit their full gear because I promise you, I've seen some of these women fight outside of the WWE, and what they can do is nuts. And so when they really are allowed to hit that full throttle, you're going to see even more than what they're giving right now. And what they're giving right now is insane. Let's just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. Rhea Ripley was the one to win the Elimination Chamber. It sucked that Alexa Bliss was the first one to get out. But, hey, it is what it is. The mist is okay. It's a good way to make sure that she looks strong. It just was a cheating factor. Raquel being able to pin Asuka And Kiana James. I love that Kiana James. She can go in that ring. I love that she's starting to get some new spotlight. She's insane. She really can do some incredible things. Tiffany Stratton really put in work in there, and Rhea Ripley was also phenomenal. That cannonball into that prettiest moonsault ever was insane. At the end of the day, Rhea Ripley was the right choice. It's WrestleMania season. It's the biggest night in sports history, and this is going to be the biggest WrestleMania because it's on ESPN, and the first hour is on ESPN. You need money matches. You need money matches. I know everybody wants to say, let's give new stars a new opportunity and let's switch things up. Those stars are there for a reason. Now, do I believe that WWE plays it safe sometimes? Yes. Not sometimes. Too much a lot of the times. But for WrestleMania, it's not about playing safe. You're going to sit there and tell me you don't want to see Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill? You're insane. Stop it. If we can't get Jade versus Bianca, that is the next best thing, and that is box office. And the way they're warring on Twitter, they are trying to get that night one main event spot. And I wouldn't be mad. But the next one we're going to talk about is about to be insane. That is a good matchup. Stop it. That is a phenomenal matchup. That is box office. Give me my money. Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, take my money. Just take it. If you are hating on that matchup, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't agree with everything that WWE does all the time. But I will say this road to WrestleMania has been picking up. And if you don't see how it's been picking up, especially after watching that Raw, I don't know what to tell you. You're just going to be complaining the whole time, and you just need to find something else to do. Great match, right winner. Let's go into AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. Listen, solid match. We can understand that AJ is still working off the ring rust. It's his first singles match, and there's nobody else that she should be in that ring with than Becky because Becky makes everyone look good. It was a solid match. Glad AJ won. Good feeling for the town she lives in with Chicago. I think it was a solid match. We'll see how this plays off going into Mania. What does Becky do? Who's going to be the number one contender after that Raw six-way gauntlet match that's happening next week? Let's see. I hope it's Bayley. She deserves something going into WrestleMania after what they did to her last year. There's just no way that Bayley as a four-horsewoman should have missed out on WrestleMania, especially after the year before where she put on one of the best matches at WrestleMania 40 with Io Sky. That was stupid. Creative. That was stupid. You see, I don't agree with everything that WWE does. Next, we're going Finn Balor and CM Punk. Yes, I would have loved Finn Balor to win, but at the end of the day, we can't mess up Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. We just can't do it. He was in Chicago. He came out to the Michael Jordan Bulls intro. It was so electric in there. Cult of Personality came to put on a great match. CM Punk got busted open for real, but they don't know how to not put on a good match. These are two wily veterans, and I just hope that Finn does give another run with the title, another couple runs really, if that's possible, because he's still world championship level. He's still one of the best in the world, even after 40. He's still in phenomenal shape, and he's better than most people will ever be at this thing called wrestling. CM Punk is amazing. It was a good match, but we can't mess up that. Finn's going to go into a program with Dom. Thought it was going to be for the IC Championship. But Penta just won the IC Championship. Maybe it's a triple threat. I don't know. But hopefully we see Finn get the win at WrestleMania. These last couple of WrestleManias been a little iffy for Finn. I want to make sure that he's getting his comeuppance and getting what he needs because truly he's incredible. And I think a face tournament is coming soon and the crowd's going to love it. Finally, the men's Elimination Chamber. I thought it was great. I struggled to see in the sense of I wanted to see where Javon Evans and what he was going to do. I think he did some cool spots, but I think there's more in the tank. But I wanted him to have like a Montez Ford performance from a couple years ago. But it's okay. It's his first Elimination Chamber. He's got plenty to go. He's 21 years old. He will be fine. But everyone put on a good show. I know people don't like the whole Logan Paul thing. Listen, Logan Paul, they've told you that this guy is going to be a top main eventer. You just got to get used to it. Dude finished in the top 3 in the Elimination Chamber, finished in the top 4 in the Royal Rumble twice in a row. He's going to be a main eventer. He's going to win championships. He brings in money. Just accept it. You don't have to like it, but he brings in money, and that's all that matters because it is a business. I think he's a great in-ring wrestler. He's getting better. I think there's stuff he needs to work on, but as far as execution, he knows how to execute. He's getting better on the mic. He's learning his character more and more. He's falling in love with the business. He's working hard, and trust me, he's going to get it. He's going to win a title, and I think it's going to be really good. And that title's going to be seen in places that you never thought you would see it before. So I thought it was great. I think that those multiple eliminations were probably Bronson's spot, but he did what he needed to do. Seth Rollins comes back, curb stomps Logan Paul. I wish that Braun Breaker and praise he comes back before WrestleMania, because that's who I want to see. We've already seen Seth versus Logan, which was a banger 3 years ago, but I still just want to see Braun versus Seth because I think that is where that Vision feud is going to collide, especially with Bronson being out. Also, we have to take into consideration that I really want Logan Paul versus Bad Bunny. I think that'll be box office. Randy Orton ends up getting the win after Drew McIntyre's interference. Now you have a situation where Cody is going to fight Randy on SmackDown for the WWE Championship. Listen, I love Drew. So glad he won the title. Wish he had a longer going into Mania, but at the end of the day, that night one event has to be Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. And I need Cody to turn heel. Not Randy. I need Cody to turn heel. Because again, people don't understand how good Cody is as a heel. And I think this would reinvigorate his character. He's done great. The crowds haven't booed him just yet. But I think when he can turn into full jerk a-hole Cody, that's when the good stuff starts happening. And I think for this feud, it's going to really make some magic. I think that's a great night one main event. Really, honestly, that could be a night two main event if it wasn't for Roman and Punk, but that's the only thing that can really go up against Roman and Punk. All right. Speaking of Roman and Punk, Elimination Chamber closed. Next thing you know, a couple days later, we have Monday Night Raw. And boy, when I tell you that Monday Night Raw was insane, Seth Rollins absolutely murking Paul Heyman, sending him to the hospital. Feels like an Attitude Era episode. I don't know what Seth is going to do, but I really hope it's not answering Brock Lesnar's open challenge. And I hope Braun can come back. But here we go. Seth opens up the show. It was really great. We had, Penta winning the IC title after Dom got cursed by Danhausen. Let's run that back too. By the way, Danhausen, I know you were expecting more out of the box, but if you're not familiar with Danhausen, trust me. For those who were familiar with Danhausen, that was definitely going to be, that's the most Danhausen thing you can expect. There was going to be nobody else but Danhausen. Once you get over it, once you kind of think about it, yeah, who'd you expect to be in that box? And for those of you who thought it was Chris Jericho, I don't know what to say. But Danhausen may have gotten booed on his first debut, but he made up for it on Raw when Penta won the IC title, beat Dominic Mysterio, and then finally that final main event segment was insane. You're talking about people's dead fathers? Oh, this got personal. If Roman doesn't come back and say something about Larry next week, I don't know what to say. After this point, throw hands. And this is why this main event is so great because, yes, they fought last year in a triple threat, but really what it was Seth exercising his demons. Seth fighting the two men that he hates the most. That's what that was. Now we get to see those two men because remember, Punk said it's not personal. It's just business. It's personal now. And I think that that's going to be a phenomenal main event. On to the AEW side, Revolution is coming up. I think we got some banger matches. Bandito versus Andrade, instant 5-star classic. Take my money. That's going to be insane. Love to see what Andrade is doing over in AEW with this whole girl selfie shtick. I love to see Bandito and how he's working. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Trust and believe, bell to bell. Top 5. Kenosha Takeshita versus Jon Moxley in a no-time limit match. That's going to be a banger. And Takeshita has to win. I love Mox. I love that the fact that he's become a babyface through this Continental Championship. And I really, really, really would have want him to retain against anybody else. But I want to see that Okada versus Takeshita story continue to ramp up. And if Takeshita can get Okada's old title, oh, that's going to make him so mad. And I love it. Okay? Swerve versus Brody. That's going to be a banger, okay? And then we got so many other ones, but Hangman versus, Hangman versus MJF, going to be a banger, with the caveat of Hangman being able to challenge for the title again or not if he wins. Hangman's probably going to win because there's no way you're taking Hangman out of the main event scene. We saw that happen with Cody. How did that work? Revolution is going to be a great, great pay-per-view, and I cannot wait to see it. But that's all I got today. Thank you for joining me on the Knockout. I'll see you next time. And man, I might need a hug after this Saturday with Max and Oliveira. God bless.